Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're hearing the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any section using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Introduction to Social Constructionism in Discourse Analysis. Introduction to Social Constructionism in Discourse Analysis outlines how this theoretical framework profoundly influences the study of language in social contexts by asserting that reality is constructed through discourse. It emphasizes that our understanding of the world is shaped not by objective truths but through the interplay of language and social interaction. This perspective invites a detailed examination of how everyday communication establishes and challenges norms, identities, and knowledge systems, with a keen focus on the power dynamics embedded within language. It also sets the stage for exploring how various discourses contribute to or contest what is perceived as reality, highlighting the role of language in both reflecting and shaping societal views and behaviors. 1. Overview of Social Constructionism. Key concepts. Social constructionism represents a pivotal theoretical framework in the field of discourse analysis, emphasizing the role of language and social interaction in the construction of reality. It posits that much of what we understand about our world is not inherently given, but is constructed through our interactions and the use of language. This perspective shifts the focus from an objective reality to the ways in which social phenomena are created, maintained, and changed through discourse. 1. Construction of reality. At its core, social constructionism argues that our perceptions of reality are shaped by the discourses within which we participate. Reality is not a fixed entity but is continually produced and reproduced through our linguistic and social practices. 2. Language as constitutive. Language is not merely a tool for communication or a reflection of the world but is seen as constitutive. It actively constructs social reality, meaning that how we talk about things shapes our understanding and experience of them. For instance, the language surrounding gender, race, and class plays a crucial role in constructing social identities and power relations. 3. The role of discourse. Discourse, defined as structured collections of texts and practices, is central to social constructionism. It is through discourse that social norms, values, and categories are established and contested. Discourse analysis, from this perspective, involves examining the ways in which language is used to construct particular views of the world and the implications of these constructions. 4. Relational and contextual nature of knowledge. Knowledge is seen as relational and produced within specific historical and cultural contexts. This challenges the notion of objective or universal truths, suggesting instead that what we know is co-constructed through our interactions with others within particular social settings. 5. Power and social construction. Power dynamics are integral to the process of social construction. Discourses are imbued with power, serving to establish and maintain dominance of particular groups or ideas. Analyzing discourse involves scrutinizing these power relations and how they influence the construction of knowledge, identities, and social norms. Relevance to discourse analysis. Social constructionism provides a robust theoretical foundation for discourse analysis, offering insights into the ways language functions to shape our social world. It enables researchers to examine the constructed nature of social categories. By analyzing discourse, researchers can uncover how social categories like race, gender, and class are constructed, challenged, and negotiated through language. Understand the role of language in shaping identities. Discourse analysis from a social constructionist perspective reveals how individual and group identities are formed in relation to the discourses available within a society. Analyze power relations. It allows for the exploration of how discourses serve to reinforce or resist power structures, offering a window into the mechanisms through which social inequalities are produced and perpetuated. Interrogate the production of knowledge. Discourse analysis can show how knowledge is contextually produced, highlighting the processes through which certain understandings become accepted as truth, while others are marginalized. Social constructionism in discourse analysis emphasizes the active role of language in creating our social reality. It invites a critical examination of the ways in which our understandings, identities, and social institutions are constructed, contested, and transformed through discourse. This approach not only enriches our analysis of language but also provides a means to critically engage with the social structures that shape our lives. 2. Historical background of social constructionism and discourse analysis. The intellectual roots of social constructionism are diverse, drawing from various disciplines such as sociology, psychology, anthropology, and linguistics. This multifaceted foundation has contributed to its rich theoretical development and application across fields, including its pivotal role in discourse analysis. Understanding the historical background of social constructionism illuminates how it has come to influence discourse analysis, providing insights into the construction of social reality through language. 1. Early influences and theoretical foundations. Philosophical underpinnings. The philosophical roots of social constructionism can be traced back to phenomenology and symbolic interactionism, which emphasized the subjective experience of reality and the social construction of meaning, respectively. Philosophers like Edmund Husserl and George Herbert Mead played crucial roles in setting the groundwork for understanding reality as a product of social interactions. Berger and Luckmann's formative work, perhaps the most influential work in the development of social constructionism, is The Social Construction of Reality, by Peter L. Berger and Thomas Luckmann, 1966. They argued that all knowledge, including categories of common-sense reality, is derived from and maintained by social interactions. Their work provided a comprehensive framework for understanding the societal construction of reality, heavily influencing later developments in social constructionism. Linguistic turn in social sciences. The linguistic turn, in the 20th century, which highlighted the centrality of language in shaping human experience and knowledge, significantly influenced social constructionism. This shift emphasized the role of language not just in communication but as a fundamental tool in constructing social reality. 2. Introduction into discourse analysis. From structuralism to post-structuralism. The move from structuralist to post-structuralist thought, particularly in the works of Michel Foucault and Jacques Derrida, highlighted the fluidity of language and its power to shape social institutions and practices. Foucault's concept of discourse as systems of knowledge that govern the way we think, act, and understand the world laid crucial groundwork for discourse analysis within a social constructionist framework. The rise of critical discourse analysis, CDA, the emergence of critical discourse analysis in the late 20th century, with scholars like Norman Fairclough and Toon A. van Dyke, integrated social constructionist ideas by examining how discourse shapes and is shaped by power relations in society. CDA focuses on the ways in which language reproduces social dominance and inequality, reflecting the core principles of social constructionism. Narrative and ethnographic approaches. Influenced by social constructionism, narrative and ethnographic approaches in social sciences began to explore how stories and everyday practices contribute to the construction of social identities and realities. This emphasis on the storied nature of human experience further enriched discourse analytical approaches, focusing on how language constructs narratives that shape our understanding of the world. 3. Impact on discourse analysis. The integration of social constructionism into discourse analysis has led to a profound rethinking of how language operates within social contexts. It has encouraged analysts to consider not just the content of discourse but its broader social implications, how it constructs, maintains, or challenges social realities. This perspective has expanded the scope of discourse analysis to include not only spoken and written texts but also a wide array of social practices and institutions, understanding them all as sites of meaning-making in social construction. In summary, the historical development of social constructionism and its introduction into discourse analysis represent a significant intellectual shift towards recognizing the constitutive power of language in social life. By tracing these roots, we can appreciate the depth and complexity of discourse analysis as a field that not only analyzes language but also interrogates the very fabric of social reality. 3. Purpose and scope. Integrating social constructionism into discourse analysis. The integration of social constructionism into discourse analysis brings a nuanced understanding of how language functions not just as a medium of communication but as a powerful tool in the construction of social realities. This interdisciplinary approach expands the objectives and scope of discourse analysis, providing insights into the complex interplay between language, thought, and social structures. 1. Objectives of integrating social constructionism. Understanding the constructive power of language. One primary objective is to explore how language constructs social realities. This includes examining how discourse shapes our perceptions of identity, reality, and knowledge, highlighting the role of language in creating and maintaining social norms and structures. Examining the role of discourse in social processes. Social constructionism encourages discourse analysts to investigate how language is involved in social processes such as the formation of identities, the exercise of power, and the negotiation of social relationships. This includes understanding how discourse influences social categorization, institutional practices, and cultural norms. Unveiling power dynamics and inequalities. Integrating social constructionism into discourse analysis aims to reveal how language can reproduce or challenge power dynamics and social inequalities. It focuses on analyzing how discourse constructs and perpetuates ideologies, hierarchies, and dominant narratives, contributing to or contesting social inequality. Highlighting the role of context in meaning-making. Another objective is to underscore the importance of context in the production and interpretation of discourse. Social constructionism prompts analysts to consider the historical, cultural, and situational contexts that influence how discourse is produced, understood, and acted upon. 2. Scope of social constructionism in discourse analysis. Cultural and societal constructs. The scope includes an examination of how cultural and societal constructs, such as gender, race, class, and nationality, are produced and reproduced through discourse. It involves analyzing the language used in various social institutions, media, education, politics, to understand the construction and perpetuation of social norms and values. Language and identity formation. Social constructionism expands the scope of discourse analysis to include the exploration of how individuals and groups use language to construct and negotiate identities. This involves looking at personal narratives, community discourses, and online interactions to understand identity as a socially constructed phenomenon. Interactions and social practices. The approach also encompasses the study of everyday interactions and social practices, examining how these micro-level practices contribute to the macro-level construction of social reality. It involves a detailed analysis of conversational dynamics, ritualistic practices, and non-verbal communication within specific cultural contexts. Critical examination of knowledge production. Social constructionism encourages a critical examination of how knowledge is produced, circulated, and validated through discourse. This includes analyzing academic discourses, scientific narratives, and media representations to understand the construction of authority, expertise, and truth. Digital and global communication. The scope further extends to the analysis of digital and global communication, exploring how new technologies and global flows of information shape and are shaped by social constructionist processes. This involves studying online communities, digital storytelling, and transcultural exchanges to understand the evolving dynamics of social construction in the digital age. Integrating social constructionism into discourse analysis not only broadens the field's objectives and scope but also deepens our understanding of the profound impact of language on social life. It challenges researchers to critically engage with the ways in which our realities are linguistically constructed and to explore the potential for discourse to enact social change. 4. Key theorists and contributions. The impact on discourse analysis. The integration of social constructionism into discourse analysis has been significantly influenced by the contributions of several key theorists, including Peter L. Berger and Thomas Luckmann, Michel Foucault, and others. Their work has not only laid the foundational concepts of social constructionism but also guided its application within the field of discourse analysis. 1. Peter L. Berger and Thomas Luckmann. The Social Construction of Reality. Berger and Luckmann's seminal work, The Social Construction of Reality, introduced the idea that society is a product of human constructs. They argued that knowledge and reality are created and maintained through social interactions and the continuous process of meaning-making. Impact on discourse analysis. Their theory underscores the importance of examining how social realities and knowledge are constructed, maintained, and altered through language. It invites discourse analysts to explore how everyday interactions contribute to the societal consensus on what constitutes reality and truth. 2. Michel Foucault. Power, knowledge, and discursive practices. Foucault's theories on power, knowledge, and discourse have profoundly influenced discourse analysis. He introduced the concept of discursive practices, ways of talking and thinking that both create and are created by social structures and power relations. Impact on discourse analysis. Foucault's work emphasizes the role of discourse in producing and reproducing power dynamics within society. His approach encourages analysts to explore how discourses function as mechanisms of power and control, shaping individuals' perceptions and behaviors. 3. Other influential theorists. Erving Goffman. Goffman's work on frame analysis and the presentation of self in everyday life has contributed to understanding how social identities are constructed and performed in interaction. His concepts of framing and face have been integral in analyzing how language constructs social realities at the micro level. Judith Butler. Butler's theories on performativity and the discursive construction of gender have expanded the scope of discourse analysis to include the examination of how language performs and constitutes social identities. Her work highlights the fluidity of identity categories like gender, demonstrating how they are produced and reproduced through discursive practices. Norman Fairclough. Fairclough's development of critical discourse analysis, CDA, has emphasized the importance of critically examining language to uncover underlying ideologies and power structures. His work has been instrumental in applying social constructionist ideas to the analysis of media texts, political discourse, and institutional language. 4. Contributions to discourse analysis. These theorists have collectively contributed to a broadened understanding of discourse as a site of social construction and contestation. They have provided tools and frameworks for analyzing how language shapes and is shaped by social norms, identities, power relations, and knowledge systems. Their contributions underscore the dynamic interplay between language and society, where discourse both constructs and reflects the social world. Incorporating the insights of these key theorists, discourse analysis has evolved to address complex questions about the nature of reality, identity, and power. It has opened avenues for interdisciplinary research, drawing from sociology, linguistics, psychology, and cultural studies to provide a comprehensive understanding of how language functions within the fabric of society. 5. Language as a constructive force in discourse analysis. The concept of language as a constructive force is central to social constructionism and its application in discourse analysis. This perspective posits that language is not merely a tool for communication or a mirror reflecting pre-existing social realities, but rather an active, dynamic force that constructs and shapes those realities. Here, we explore the mechanisms through which language performs this constructive role and its implications for discourse analysis. 1. Constructing social realities. Reality through language. Social constructionism contends that our understanding of the world is mediated through language. The way we talk about objects, people, and concepts does not just describe them but actually constitutes them as such in our social world. For instance, the discourse surrounding mental health not only describes but also constructs our understanding of what mental health is. The performative nature of language. Building on J. L. Austin's idea of performative utterances, which accomplish something rather than merely describe it, discourse analysts examine how language performs actions. For example, legal pronouncements or ceremonial speeches don't just describe a change, they enact it. 2. Language and identity. Identity construction. Language plays a pivotal role in the construction of social identities. Through discourse, individuals negotiate their identities, align with certain social groups, and distance themselves from others. The way we talk about ourselves and others can solidify or challenge social categories like gender, ethnicity, and class. Performativity in discourse. Judith Butler's concept of performativity highlights how language constructs gender identities through repeated discursive acts. In this view, gender is not a pre-existing reality but a set of practices and discourses continuously performed and reiterated. 3. Power and knowledge. Discourse and power. Following Foucault, discourse analysts explore how language is intertwined with power, showing how certain discourses become dominant and shape societal norms and values. Language can both empower and marginalize, establishing what is considered truth and knowledge in a given society. Constructing knowledge. Discourses not only reflect but also construct knowledge. Scientific discourse, for example, shapes our understanding of health and illness. What is considered true, or scientifically valid, is the result of specific discursive practices. 4. Methodological implications for discourse analysis. Critical examination of language. Understanding language as a constructive force necessitates a critical approach to discourse analysis. Analysts must look beyond the surface meaning of texts to uncover the underlying processes of social construction, examining how discourses produce, maintain, and transform social realities. Interdisciplinary approaches. This perspective encourages an interdisciplinary approach, integrating insights from linguistics, sociology, psychology, and cultural studies to fully understand the constructive power of language. Focus on micro-level interactions. While examining broad social narratives is important, focusing on the micro-level interactions and the everyday use of language reveals how social realities are constructed in real time, in the interplay between individual agency and social structures. Language, from this perspective, is a foundational element in the social construction of reality. Discourse analysis, informed by social constructionism, provides a powerful lens through which to examine how language not only reflects but also creates the world we live in, offering profound insights into the interrelations between language, thought, and social organization. 6. From structures to agency in discourse analysis. The shift from structures to agency in discourse analysis marks a significant turn in how researchers understand the role of individuals and collectives in the production and transformation of discourse. This evolution reflects a growing emphasis on the active, constructive role that speakers and writers play in shaping discourse, challenging deterministic views of language as merely a product of social structures. Here, we explore this shift and its implications for the field of discourse analysis. 1. Understanding the shift. Structuralist foundations. Initially, discourse analysis often leaned heavily on structuralist perspectives, which emphasized the role of deep-seated, overarching structures in determining language use and meaning. Language was seen as a system that constrained individual agency, with social norms and institutions shaping discourse in a top-down fashion. Recognizing agency. Against this backdrop, a turn towards recognizing individual and collective agency emerged, influenced by social constructionism and post-structuralist thought. This perspective acknowledges that while individuals operate within larger social and discursive structures, they also have the capacity to use language creatively, resist dominant discourses, and contribute to the emergence of new discourses. 2. Mechanisms of agency in discourse. Creative language use. Individuals are not just passive recipients of language. They actively engage with and manipulate linguistic resources to express identity, resist authority, and negotiate social relationships. This creative use of language can subvert traditional norms and contribute to social change. Resistance and counter-discourse. Agency is evident in the capacity of individuals and groups to resist dominant discourses and produce counter-discourses. For instance, feminist and anti-racist movements have effectively used discourse to challenge existing power structures and articulate alternative visions of society. Role of technology and media. The rise of digital media has further amplified individual and collective agency in discourse. Social media platforms, blogs, and other digital spaces provide tools for people to produce and spread their own discourses, often bypassing traditional gatekeepers of information and influence. 3. Implications for discourse analysis. Analyzing discursive practices. The recognition of agency shifts the focus of discourse analysis towards the examination of discursive practices, how people use language in context to achieve specific effects, negotiate power, and construct realities. Empowering research subjects. This perspective encourages researchers to view participants not merely as subjects of discourse but as active agents capable of reflecting on and transforming discourse. This approach can empower communities by valuing their voices and perspectives in the analysis. Methodological diversity. Emphasizing agency necessitates methodological diversity in discourse analysis. Qualitative methods such as ethnography, narrative analysis, and critical discourse analysis become essential for capturing the nuances of how individuals and groups exercise agency through language. Interdisciplinarity. Understanding agency in discourse draws on theories and insights from across the social sciences and humanities, including linguistics, sociology, anthropology, and cultural studies. This interdisciplinarity enriches discourse analysis by providing a fuller picture of the complex dynamics between language, society, and individual action. The shift from structures to agency in discourse analysis reflects a broader recognition of the dynamic interplay between language, power, and human creativity. By focusing on how individuals and groups use language to exert influence, challenge norms, and construct social realities, discourse analysis can uncover the transformative potential of discourse in shaping our world. This perspective not only broadens the scope of discourse analysis but also aligns with contemporary understandings of language as a site of struggle, negotiation, and change. Conclusion. The exploration of social constructionism within the realm of discourse analysis provides a profound understanding of how language and social interaction are instrumental in constructing reality. By focusing on the mechanisms through which language not only reflects but actively shapes our perceptions, identities, and the very fabric of society, social constructionism challenges us to reconsider our assumptions about the objective nature of reality. This theoretical lens illuminates the intricate ways in which discourse operates not just as a vehicle for expressing thought but as a powerful agent of social construction and transformation. From the foundational contributions of theorists like Berger, Luckmann, Foucault, and others, we glean insights into the fluidity of social realities and the central role of discourse in their ongoing construction. These scholars have underscored the significance of language in the performative enactment of social phenomena, from the establishment of societal norms to the negotiation of power relations and the assertion of individual and collective agency. This journey through the tenets of social constructionism and its application to discourse analysis highlights the dynamic interplay between language, thought, and society. It reveals the potential of discourse analysis not only as a methodological tool for examining language use but as a critical endeavor that interrogates the ways in which social realities are constructed, challenged, and remade. In doing so, it invites us to engage deeply with the complexities of language as a constructive force, recognizing the agency of individuals and collectives in shaping the discourse and, by extension, the world we inhabit. As we navigate the implications of social constructionism for discourse analysis, we are compelled to consider the ethical dimensions of research, the power dynamics inherent in discursive practices, and the transformative potential of language in effecting social change. This approach not only enriches our understanding of discourse but also empowers us to contribute to the ongoing conversation about the role of language in constructing the social world. In essence, social constructionism in discourse analysis serves as a reminder of the profound impact our words and interactions have on the reality we collectively construct and navigate. Frequently asked questions. What is social constructionism in discourse analysis? Social constructionism is a theoretical framework emphasizing that language and social interactions construct our perception of reality. In discourse analysis, it examines how social phenomena are created and understood through language, highlighting the role of discourse in shaping social norms, identities, and knowledge. How does social constructionism view reality and language? Social constructionism argues that reality is not a fixed entity but is continuously produced through linguistic and social practices. It views language as constitutive, actively constructing social reality, which means our discussions shape our experiences and understanding of the world. What role does discourse play in social constructionism? Discourse is central to social constructionism, serving as the medium through which social norms, values, and categories are established and contested. Analyzing discourse involves exploring how language constructs particular views of the world and the social implications of these constructions. Can you explain the relational and contextual nature of knowledge in social constructionism? Knowledge in social constructionism is seen as relational and context-dependent, produced within specific historical and cultural contexts. This perspective challenges the notion of objective truths, suggesting that our understanding of the world is co-constructed through interactions within particular social settings. How does social constructionism address power dynamics? Social constructionism integrates power dynamics into the process of social construction, examining how discourses are imbued with power that establishes and maintains the dominance of certain groups or ideas. It involves scrutinizing how power relations influence the construction of knowledge, identities, and social norms. What are the objectives of integrating social constructionism into discourse analysis? Integrating social constructionism aims to understand how language constructs social realities, examine the role of discourse in social processes, unveil power dynamics, and highlight the significance of context in meaning-making. It enriches discourse analysis by providing insights into the ways language shapes our social world. How does social constructionism broaden the scope of discourse analysis? Social constructionism expands the scope of discourse analysis to include the examination of cultural and societal constructs, identity formation, everyday interactions, the critical examination of knowledge production, and the analysis of digital and global communication. It prompts researchers to engage critically with the ways in which realities are linguistically constructed. Who are key theorists in social constructionism, and what are their contributions? Key theorists include Peter L. Berger and Thomas Luckmann, who introduced the idea of society as a human construct; Michel Foucault, who emphasized the role of discourse in power dynamics; and others like Irving Goffman, Judith Butler, and Norman Fairclough, who have contributed to understanding the construction of social identities, power structures, and the critical examination of language. How does recognizing agency in discourse analysis change the focus of research? Recognizing agency shifts the focus towards examining how individuals use language creatively to shape discourse, resist dominant narratives, and produce counter-discourses. It values the voices and perspectives of research subjects as active agents, necessitating methodological diversity and interdisciplinary approaches. What implications does the shift from structures to agency have for discourse analysis? The shift encourages a focus on discursive practices, empowering research subjects, and embracing methodological diversity. It acknowledges the dynamic interplay between language, society, and individual creativity, highlighting the potential of discourse to shape social realities and foster change.